Do I speak?
very serious steps for the welfare.
Thank you,
of this
sir. Thank you,
daughter.
sir. Please go ahead, madam. Madam, please go ahead. Thank you, sir.
Sir, at the onset, I would like to thank you for having given me the opportunity to take part in this historical discussion on the 75 years journey of our Indian Constitution, sir. I deem it a great honor and privilege to be partaking in this discussion today. And it would be our bounden duty to be paying our respects to the framers of our Constitution, one of the tallest statesmen of our country, Dr. Babasaheb Bhimrao Ambedkar ji, who had actually chaired the drafting committee, and also the 389 members of the Constituent Assembly who had contributed to the framing of our Constitution. And besides them, sir, also Shri B.N. Rao ji, who was the constitutional advisor at that point of a time, and Shri S.N. Mukherjee, who was the chief draftsman of our Constitution too, sir. Sir, it is pertinent here to draw the attention of the respected House to the observations made by Professor Tom Ginsburg, who was a professor at the University of Chicago. And he had studied very closely and analyzed 200 constitutions across the world that were adopted after 1798. And he had categorically mentioned that the relevance of these constitutions were for a period of 17 years. And when we look around our country and take into consideration the countries around our own, we will realize that Sri Lanka had replaced its constitution thrice, Pakistan had replaced it 6 times, and Nepal had replaced it 5 times, sir. But we have a great constitution which had withstood the time and had completed 75 years, sir. And therefore, on behalf of the 140 crore Indians, I would like to thank the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji for having declared November 26th as the Constitutional Day, which is but a befitting tribute to the framers of our Constitution. Sir, ours is recognized to be the second oldest Constitution and also perceived to be one of the longest detailed documents, sir, which also encompasses the pluralistic values of our country. Sir, we need to realize here that this is simply not a legal document, but it seeks to provide, it's a moral guide which seeks to provide equal rights and opportunities to all the citizens of our country. Sir, the outstanding feature of our Constitution is the balance that it displays between adaptability and rigidity, sir. I say adaptability because it had withstood 106 amendments, it had subsumed 106 amendments, sir. And I would say rigidity because it has not lost, it has not compromised with the core values at all. Sir, I would here like to quote the words of Babasaheb Ambedkar when he said, "The Constitution is not a mere lawyer's document, and its spirit is always the spirit of the age." This reflects the strength of our Constitution, sir. Sir, the appreciable aspect of our Constitution too is that it simply does not seek to right the wrong that was done to many sections of our society, but it also seeks to address the challenges of an evolving modern society. Sir, many of the Western democracies have shirked away or rather shied away from giving the women in their country equal rights right until the 1960s. But sir, it was our Constitution that gave the women of our country equal rights, even as equal voting rights, even as early as 1949. And sir, this might have been a revolutionary decision at that point of a time. Sir, it simply not gives the women equal voting right, but it also ensures equality to the women and protects them from discrimination, which is reflected in the various articles of our Constitution. For example, Article 14 ensures equality before law and equal protection of laws. Article 15 prohibits discrimination by any state on gender basis. Article 16 ensures equality of opportunity in employment. Article 39D ensures equal pay for equal work. Article 42 directs the states to provide humane working conditions, maternity relief, and there are many more articles, sir. The reason why I am quoting these articles here today is that these various articles have been made possible and have found their way into the Constitution of India because of the great work done by 15 wonderful, great and brave women of the Constituent Assembly. Sir, I would like to quote some of them and also remind the House the work that they have done, sir. Sir, Srimati Sarojini Naidu was one of them, and she promoted the importance of national identity symbolized in the national flag. Sir, Begum Qudsiya Ejaz Rasulji, who strongly opposed communal reservations, sir, but she advocated minority education. Srimati Ammu Swaminathan, which one of the colleagues had just mentioned, who was fondly called Ammukutti, who spoke on the economic issues and the problems of women workers. Hansa Jivaraj Mehta, who advocated fundamental rights and rights for women too. Here, sir, I would like to quote I would like to quote Hansa Jivaraj Mehta ji on two important issues, her interventions on two important issues. One was on the Parda system and the second was on the Uniform Civil Code. Sir, on the Parda system, she said, and I quote, "It is an inhuman custom which still exists in parts of India. Unfortunately, we were told that raising this question will hurt the religious susceptibilities of some people. As far as the Hindu religion is concerned, it does not enjoin Parda. Islam does. But I feel that Islam will be better rid of this evil. Any evil practiced in the name of religion cannot be guaranteed in the Constitution." This is what she observed about the Parda system. Sir, on the Uniform Common Civil Code, she said, and I quote, "The other item to which I wish to draw the attention of the House is the Common Civil Code. To my mind, this is much more important than even the national language. We have too many personal laws in this country, and these personal laws are dividing the nation today. It is therefore very essential, if we want to build up one nation, to have one civil code. It must, however, be remembered that the civil code that we wish to have must be on par with or in advance of the most progressive of the personal laws in the country. Otherwise, it would be a retrograde step and it will not be acceptable to all." Sir, Srimati Vijayalakshmi Panditji, who emphasized India's role in protecting global peace. We had Rajkumari Amrit Kaurji, who supported extensively the women political participation. Srimati Sucheta Kripalani, who emphasized the need for ensuring political rights for women. Srimati Renuka Ray, who intervened on women rights issues. Srimati Leela Roy, who was deeply committed to gender equality. Srimati Purnima Banerjee, who vehemently argued that power should lie with the people. Srimati Annie Mascarene, who strongly argued for democratic reforms, considering that to be vital for a strong India. Srimati Dakshayani Velayudan, the only Dalit woman, as was mentioned earlier, sir, the only Dalit woman in the Constituent Assembly, who fought vociferously for doing away with the untouchability and also equal opportunities to all. Srimati Kamala Chaudhary, who was committed to rural development. Srimati Durgabai Deshmukh, whom we all know, she was instrumental in setting up family courts in the country. And Srimati Malti Chaudhary, who advocated land reforms, social justice, and rural welfare policies to the women in rural India. Sir, these remarkable women have left an indelible mark on the Constitution of India. And it is living up to this spirit of the Constitution, sir, and being inspired by the work done by, as somebody had mentioned earlier, the mothers of the Constitution. Shri Narendra Modi ji has defined a new India's growth story, wherein it is no longer women development, but rather women-led development, sir. Today, women in our country would no longer be passive recipients of the benefits of certain schemes, but rather to promote women-led development, sir, our focus should be on nutrition, health, and education, which is exactly what the Narendra Modi ji-led government is doing today. So the direct benefit transfer scheme under the Matritva Vandana Matritva Surakshit Yojana has today resulted in healthy mothers giving birth to healthy children and thereby a healthy nation. Access to sanitation, sir, has improved the health of the women in the country. Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana and Beti Bachao Beti Padhao have actually facilitated girl-child education. Financial inclusion for women today, sir, in the country has been facilitated through the Jan Dhan Yojana. The maternal benefit bill, which has sought to extend the paid maternity leave for women from 12 weeks to 26 weeks, has ensured that the children of our country do get the mother's care. And the Namo drone Didi has empowered our women farmers in rural India, and the microfinance that we are actually facilitating for the women in our country has converted them into entrepreneurs under the Stand Up India scheme, sir. Sir, here I would be failing if I do not mention the Nari Shakti Adhiniyam, which provides for 33% reservation for women in Parliament as well as in the Assembly. Sir, this is simply not a facilitation of women coming forward, but we must understand and realize that this actually gives an opportunity to an entire dormant talent pool to come forward and take on the leadership role, in our country. And these interventions by the Narendra Modi-led government has metamorphosized women to become leaders and to and key contributors to the India's growing story, sir. So this only reflects the fact that our constitution continues to shape the Indian governance as well, as it has been enshrined in the constitution. And Article 38 reads, sir, the state is required to promote the welfare of the people by ensuring a social order that is just, social, economic, and political. However, sir, the evolution of our constitution has not been without challenges. And this would also mean the challenges that the framers of a constitution had faced, even when they had to ensure the security and welfare of the millions of people who were displaced during the partition. But yet, sir, amidst all the violence and the uncertainty of the day, the framers of our constitution had met meticulously and religiously, and they have successfully given us a constitution to a country of exceptional diversity. Sir, here Baba Saheb Ambedkar ji was a little apprehensive about the success of our constitution when he said, and I quote, "Indeed, if I may say so, if things go wrong under the new constitution, the reason will not be that we had a bad constitution. What we will have to say is that man was vile." And sir, his words have come true. Our constitution has been amended 106 times since 1950, sir. And even as tall leaders have accepted various responsibilities when the constitution was being framed. Like, for example, late Shri Babu Rajendra Prasad ji, he had kept the records. Baba Saheb Ambedkar ji, he had chaired the drafting committee. The Iron Man of our country, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, he took it upon himself to actually bring a consensus among the minorities and the other communities in our country. At this juncture, sir, it is very important to recall the observations of Shri Jawaharlal Nehru ji when he said, while we make a constitution which is sound and as basic as we can, it should also be flexible, and for a period, we should be in a position to change it with relative flexibility. Sir, at that point of a time, it might have sounded very innocently apt, but the irony is, just about a year and a half after the Constitution was adopted in 1950, on the 18th of August 1951, the first draconian amendment was made to the Constitution, sir, and that too to Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution, wherein freedom of expression, which was guaranteed under this article, was actually curtailed and curbed. So this move was bitterly opposed by Shri Shyama Prasad Mukherjee ji when he said, you are treating this constitution as a scrap of paper. Sir, a preamble was not spared. Many of my colleagues had actually spoken about it when the words socialist and secular was introduced into a preamble, and Baba Saheb Ambedkar ji had vehemently said that socialists should not be added in the preamble at that point of a time because no one typical governance style should be imposed upon the citizens of our country. Of course, sir, the emergency of 1975-77 is a stark reminder of the violation of the provisions of the Constitution and an encroachment on the fundamental rights of the citizen of our country. Since the adoption of our Constitution, sir, the Union government had dismissed democratically elected governments 134 times, largely during when the principal opposition party was in power. And the first time, sir, again I would like to emphasize on the word ironically, because it was on the 20th of June 1951 that Article 356 was imposed in Punjab too. Sir, Article 356 actually vests wide powers in the central government to stamp its authority on the state governments. See, though this article at that point of a time was meant to preserve the integrity and the unity of our country, it has been blatantly used to oust democratically elected governments that were led by opponent parties. So this article, sir, was borrowed from the Government of India Act of 1935. Ironically, sir, that the leaders of the freedom struggle had opposed the invocation of Article 93 from the Government of India's Act of 1935. But later on, and the Britishers did not invoke it as well, but later on, sir, it had found its way into our constitution, and the reason why it was incorporated was to ensure stability in a post-independent country. Sir, Baba Saheb Ambedkar ji had called this article a dead letter, but this article has been misused a majority of times. Here I cannot refrain, sir, from recalling the experience of my late father, Shri N.T. Ramarao ji, when he was undemocratically ousted out of power, when Srimati Indira Gandhi ji was the Prime Minister of the country. But it is thanks to the principal party in the NDA government today, the BJP, and the love and affection of the people of the state of Andhra Pradesh that has actually seen him reinstalled in the state of Andhra Pradesh, sir. Sir, it would be permanent. It would be pertinent. Yes, and many other parties too. Sorry. Sir, it would be pertinent, sir, here to recall the comments from the editorial of The Economist. And The Economist, in its editorial, had written, "A ruler who regards his opponents as demons is liable to start behaving like one." Again, sir, a ruler who regards opponents as demons is liable to start behaving like one. Mr. Nixon, 10 years out of American presidency, has yet to say sorry. Mrs. Gandhi, 4 years back in power in India, is into her dirty tricks again. This is what Economist said, sir. It is not what I had said. Sir, to conclude, the Constitution of India is not simply a compilation of schedules and articles, sir. Neither does it simply seek to establish institutions, but it is rather a transformative one. The various provisions in our Constitution seek to ensure social and economic justice to all the citizens of our country. Today, rising above all political considerations and ideologies, it is our bounden duty to pay respect to the 75 years journey of our Constitution. So the interpretation of our Constitution has been shaped by interventions of various sections of society, and we cannot leave the judiciary far behind. Our judiciary too, sir, has been a part of this evolution journey, wherein when it was necessary, they had worked closely with governments, but when it was so desired, they did not hesitate, the judiciary did not hesitate from striking down laws, policies, and at the same time, amendments too, to uphold the basic structure of our Constitution. Sir, when our Constitution was being framed, the framers of our Constitution were both men, women, leaders from different parties, leaders belonging to various ideologies, from different caste, creed and backgrounds, sir. So today, sir, we can never say that the Constitution belongs to any one particular person, party or ideology. This Constitution belongs to India. And this is what is very, very inspiring, sir. Sir, the oldest and the longest constitution of the world today, it seeks to realize the dream of every Indian citizen, sir. And that dream, if I were to put it in the words of poet Iqbal, is to realize a country which is Sare Jahan Se Acha, Hindustan Hamara. Jai Hind, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. माननीय श्री इकरा चौधरी जी.